All right. Welcome back. So normally on this channel I react to stuff I've never heard before, but over the past few days I've been showing some stuff that I have been listening to lately. I have absolutely no clue how to describe or talk about or even like which song I could show by this group right here or this artist really. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Car Seat Headrest, which is a group that I got into a couple of months ago, and ironically, pretty much the day I started trying to listen to them. I think I saw someone talk about them on either Twitter or Instagram, and what they said was like they talked about like weird song structures, but also like singer songwritery stuff, but also that everything was made by one guy, and he recorded it in a car and or recorded vocals in a car, and just did everything himself without any help from like the record industry and just put it up on Bandcamp, I think. And it was all like weird and experimental and very just different and cool. Anyway, so the description of the group intrigued me, so I went and tried to find an album to check out. And I gave it one chance, and it was a little off-putting. Whatever the first thing I listened to was, which I think was a way earlier release by this. I don't know whether to call them a band or a single person, because I know that they have a band. Let me look them up really quick on Wikipedia so we can Car Seat Headrest, so we can talk about them properly. An American indie rock band formed in Virginia, currently located in Seattle, Washington. The band consists of Will Toledo, who was originally begun as a solo recording project by Toledo in 2010. Car Seat Headrest self-released 12 albums before finally signing to Matador Records in 2015. He made 12 albums in 5 years started as a teenager. So yeah, the first thing I listened to was a little bit off-putting. I didn't love it, and then I came back to it, and I listened to an album called Twin Fantasy Face to Face, which is apparently they made an album called Twin Fantasy when he made the album when he was 19 years old, and then he re-released the album later with some songs tweaked, and it was, I think, under a label. And this album is awesome. I love the album. Twin Fantasy, great album. I'm gonna link it down below. But I have no idea what like one song would be a good idea to go through because the lyrics are weird on all of the tracks, and yeah, I don't know. So the song that showcases the most of the things that I like about this group is this song right here, Beach, Life and Death. This song is 13 minutes long, so almost a prog song. Yeah, so let's go back to Wikipedia. I think they can help with describing the group. They are a indie rock, lo-fi pop group. Is there a style? Okay. AllMusic biographer Mark Deming wrote that Car Seat Headrest created moody, introspective lo-fi pop tunes that are melodic but structurally ambitious at the same time. Writing for Pitchfork, Jeremy Gordon stated that on Teens of Denial, Will Toledo reaffirms that he is ahead of the pack as an imaginative singer-songwriter capable of crafting dynamic indie rock. Ian Cohen of Pitchfork described his music as dense, confounding music that often captures the giddy thrill of first having access to recording equipment, of finally being able to put a sound to the voice in your head. Rolling Stone described Making a Door Less Open as an immersive, adventurous album that sounds polished but never slick, well-executed experiment in cross-genre pollination that heightens Toledo's best songwriting impulses. Sorry, I can't speak. So now that we've talked for over 4 minutes, thanks for listening to all of that. If you're still here, thank you for joining me. Let's check out this 13-minute-long epic track that has so many changes of stuff. It's fun. All right, let's go.
Nice. Last night I drove to Harper's Ferry and I thought about you. There were signs on the roads that warned me of stop signs. The speed limit kept decreasing about 10 as we entered a town about halfway there. It was almost raining at the train station. We put our hoods on our heads at the train station. We threw rocks into the river. the river underneath the train tracks. And when the train came, it was so big and powerful. When it came into the little station, I wanted to put my arms around it, but the conductor looked at me funny. So we had to say goodbye and leave. The Monopoly board still in the backseat. Took that nightmare turn to get out of town. Ran into the decreasing speed limits again. What should I do? Eat breakfast. What should I do? Eat lunch. What should I do?
Like the call and response thing, yeah.
What should I do? Go to bed. Where can I go? Go to the store. Where can I go? Apply for jobs. Where can I go? Go to your friends. Where can I go? Go to bed.
Bass, cool.
was trying to kill you. I woke up and I was trying to kill you. It's been a year.
I'm gonna pause it there and just say, so, yeah, we've been through all the stages of grief already. We've been through 80 different emotional changes. We've been through 20 genre changes, and yeah, we're only 5 minutes into the song. We're not even halfway through the song yet. Yeah, this is a very interesting group, very unique. I love the lo-fi sounds of their music, and I really like a lot of the lyricism is interesting. It's also super specific a lot of times too, which is, yeah. There's a few other artists that I like who do that. It's like it almost feels like you're getting to know the artist on a almost too personal level. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's continue. 3, 2, 1.
He was trying to kill you. I woke up and I was trying to kill you. It's been a year since we first met. I don't know if we're boyfriends yet. Do you have any crimes that we can use to pass the time? I am running out of drugs to try.
Very surreal.
Get eaten, get more groceries, get eaten, get more groceries, get
And that was backwards. I think it was.
And it was my favorite scene. I couldn't tell you what it means, but it meant something to me. Pretty soon you'll find some nice young Satanist with braces and one capital significant thing. And you can take him home to your mother and say, Mom, this is my brother. We said we get eaten, get more groceries,
feed that from back
get eaten, get more groceries, get eaten by the one we love. When they put their lips around you, you can feel their smile from the inside.
Cool. All right. That's Oh, are we not done? Let's keep going then.
Last night I dreamed he was trying to kill you. I woke up and I was trying to kill you. Your ears perked up. I perked up when your ears perked up. You were all looking around, and I hoped it was for me. I hoped you were using your solar systems for me. The ancients saw it coming. You can see that they tried to warn them. In the tales that they told their children, when they fell out of their heads in the morning, they said sex can be frightening, but the children were not listening, and the children cut out everything except for the kissing and the singing. When they finally found their homes at Walt Disney Studios, and then everyone grew up with the fundamental scheme of fun. But there are lots of fish left in the sea. There are lots of fish in businesses. That's all they want, the human thing. And there's a doctor's hand with knees. Oh, please let me enjoy your coat. I'll put my face in your caress.
Whole album is really good. Yeah. Okay. That's Car Seat Headrest, Beach, Life and Death. Yeah. This is a re-recording. All right, so if I am correct, wait, let me see if there's a Wikipedia page for the album itself. What's the name of the album? Twin Fantasy, Face to Face. Okay. Twin Fantasy began as a solo album released by Car Seat Headrest lead singer, songwriter Will Toledo on November 2nd, 2011. In an interview with City Beat, he explained that due to his lack of resources, Twin Fantasy was unable to achieve the expansiveness he originally wanted, and said it never seemed like the book was closed on it. He initially considered a re-release, but after meeting with independent label Matador Records in 2015, he decided to revisit the material in full following the release of Teens of Style and Teens of Denial. Recording for this album began in 2016, with much of the instrumental work being recorded live at Soundhouse in Seattle. Vocals were recorded separately by engineer Adam Stilson at Decade Music Studios in Chicago. Post-production and mixing took place between Decade Music Studios and Will Toledo's apartment. The most effects, stems, and final mixes run through the studio's vintage mixing console. Stop Smoking, We Love You was recorded by Toledo in his apartment. Love that song, by the way. And also, one of the coolest parts of the album is listening to Stop Smoking, We Love You, which is entirely acoustic. It's only like a minute long, and I learned it on guitar, too. Wait. Yeah, it's super short. And then in this song, High to Death, which might be my favorite song on the album, maybe. Bodies is really good, too. And so is the one we just listened to. I like the really long tracks. But anyway, High to Death has a part that references back to the Stop Smoking part. And it's so great. Anyway, okay. So yeah, they released a re-recorded version of Beach Life and Death digitally without prior announcement. Fans had hopes that the albums would be re-recorded and released shortly afterward. And yeah, so it came out, a tour, music video for single Nervous Young Inhumans. The album was released via Matador on February 16th. The original recording, retitled Twin Fantasy Mirror to Mirror, was released on vinyl as part of a record store day on April 21st. It received critical acclaim from contemporary music critics. On Metacritic, it received 87 out of 100 based on 21 reviews, indicating universal acclaim. Hannah of Record Collector gave the album a perfect score, calling his lyrics exhilarating and describing the album as a no-stop gap contract filler of a record. As no stopgap contract filler of a record, but rather a perfectionist giving a great album the full workout it deserved. The album received Best New Music certification from Pitchfork, with Mark Richardson commenting that Toledo pulls off an album with a jarring degree of specificity that touches on feelings familiar to almost anyone who has experienced young desire and heartbreak. J. Edward Keyes described Twin Fantasy as not only the best album in Toledo's catalog so far, but one of the young year's best rock albums, period. The result of the revisions is a blistering rock record of tremendous scope and heft, richly detailed and overflowing with memorable melodies. It is Car Seat Headrest's first masterpiece. Yeah, such an incredible album. And it did not say it on here. Maybe it would have been on this one. What am I looking for? Yeah, the album's a concept album that explores a relationship that Toledo was in, where I think according to what I read, it was an online relationship that just didn't work out, you know? Yeah, and I think the whole album is about that relationship, and kind of like the last song, some of the things that he says where he's like, these are all just lyrics now, but I can now like come back to it. It's great. All right. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go through the entire track. There's so much. I'm going to try, actually. We're on 20 minutes through. If you're still here, thank you. Let's go through all the lyrics. I re-recorded new single version. It was a single. There's no way this song was a single. This song was a single. If that's correct, that's awesome. Of the song Beach Life and Death, previously seen on their album Twin Fantasy. Yeah. So from Will Toledo's interview with Peyton Thomas, the first time around, the main sources of inspiration were probably The Past as a Grotesque Animal of Montreal, and then the sort of longer meandering work that Destroyer did on Luder's Follies. It was all sort of united under a crappy lo-fi aesthetic. I think I was mainly excited by the idea of something like Destroyer making these long poetic songs with different sections. I got kind of burnt out on that after a while, and I guess so did Bijar. I wanted NYI to be the first single, Nervous Young Inhumans, and I wanted to announce it in December, but Matador wanted to wait, so we had a video locked in for NYI, and I asked if we could release Beach Life and Death without any press. I think it's as good as a barometer as anything. If you don't like the production on this song, you're probably not going to like the album. The Ivy verse happened because I knew I'd have to rewrite that verse. I couldn't sell the original lines. I wasn't in the right place. And I liked the original content I'd come up with for covering Ivy. It seemed appropriate. Ivy being Yeah, okay. Anyway. So yeah. So this is part 1. Are there multiple parts of this? There are 3. How many parts are there? There's 3 parts. So at the beginning, like I said, a lot of the lyrics are super specific. So they're going to a place, thinking about someone, noticing all these little things, signs on the road that are warning me of stop signs, the speed limit's decreasing, we're entering a town, it's raining at the train station, we're throwing our hoods over our heads, throwing rocks into a river. And then he says a river underneath train tracks. It's so, like I said, the entire album is very surreal in quality and almost, it's kind of trippy too. And yeah. So then the train comes in. Yeah. Possibly a double entendre. Yeah. And then wanting to put my arms around the train could be a reference to suicide, or perhaps the partner is a guy, so the conductor disapproves of him and Will. Also, yeah, Will Toledo is like openly, I think he's gay. I don't think he's bi. I think he's gay. And they actually got a pretty large fan base just from that, because there's not a lot of artists who are open about stuff like that. And for a lot of people, you need representation and stuff. So that's another thing that I thought was cool about this group, is that they are very open about a lot of different things. So anyway, yeah. Also, I love the album because it reminds me, like, I've been in online relationships before, and a lot of lyrics on a lot of the songs just remind me of that. And stuff like this little section here. What should I do? Eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner, go to bed, go to the store, apply for jobs, go to a friend's, go to bed, reminds me of just, being a younger person, and constantly questioning what am I even supposed to be doing? And then, like, you realize that what you're doing is so mundane. And then he says something later. He's like, I'm inseparable from the impossible. I want gravity to stop for me. It's not enough to love the unreal. My soul yearns for a fugitive from the laws of nature. But I don't want to go insane. I don't want to have schizophrenia. I'm completely soulless. I'm incapable of being human. I'm incapable of being human as well. I'm living uncontrollably. It should be called anti-depression, as a friend of mine suggested, because it's not the sadness that hurts you, it's your brain's reaction against it. In essence of this lyric, mental illness, and particularly depression, is not specifically sadness, but it's how the brain reacts and copes with that sadness. Then we get to that part where he goes, oh. Last night I dreamed he was trying to kill you, and we slow things down. I woke up and it was me that was trying to kill you. Do you have any... He says, we're running out of drugs to try. Then this part, we said we hated humans and we wanted to be humans. This is a familiar existential dilemma, having to be a person when people make your skin crawl, and when you make your own skin crawl all the time. A self-loathing type thing that... Another thing that I could kind of relate to, yeah. Perhaps more clearly, these lines reflect how one's relationship with humanity can be a love-hate relationship. The song's protagonist and his lover, corrupted by the cynicism that comes with being outsiders, are led to say that they hate humans. Ironically, they experience a simultaneous craving to feel human, or to be loved, Then we got the back to the mundane and the cyclical nature. Buying groceries, eating the groceries, buying more groceries, eating the groceries. Represents monotony as life just goes by in a predictable cycle for Will, mind-numbingly. A reference to him trying to pass the time a few lines prior. Yeah. Especially when you're like... I'm going to keep bringing it back to this because this is what I was thinking of when listening to the album for the first time after doing a little bit of research and finding out that it was written as a concept album about an online relationship he was in. This feeling of like this little tiny thing that in retrospect is like almost impossible is my entire world right this second. And then everything else, just all the color fades out of it. And it's like, what am I even doing with my life, So, yeah. Anyway. Pretty soon, I don't understand this part, so I'm glad we've got these annotations. But he says, pretty soon you'll find some nice young Satanist with braces and one capital O significant other, and you can take him home to your mother and say, Mom, this is my brother. And I think that's where he screams. He says, Ma, this is my brother, you know. What is he talking about? This line refers to the character Moya from Kate Worth's body of work. Okay. Referencing the philosophical concept of phenomenology. The terms of the other and the constitutive other identify the other human being and their differences from the self as being a cumulative constituting factor in the self-image of a person as their acknowledgement of being real. Hence, the other is dissimilar to and the opposite of the self, of us, and of the same. In layman's terms, the idea that the only way to truly form self-image is through observing what differentiates you from other people. In this case, having a capital O significant other would mean a relationship with someone who's similar enough that you can observe aspects of yourself in them. In other words, a twin fantasy. Dang. Well, that's kind of cool, actually. Perhaps out of fear of being judged, shunned, or even misunderstood for his sexuality, he introduces his partner to his family not as a boyfriend, but as a brother, a close friend. Introducing partners as anything but was and is, unfortunately, common throughout that history, and Toledo's multi-layered line places a subtle emphasis on the absurdity of this phenomenon by stressing the family aspect. It's important to notice this dialogue is directed at his mother, who would obviously know that this new face isn't a brother. Perhaps she is happier accepting a close friend or even willing to accept the partner as a literal brother over seeing him as in a relationship with her son. And the absurdity of having to hide this under complex layers by extension highlights the absurdity of the root problem of homophobia. Alternatively, this could be a self-improvised censorship to refer to previous lyrics and themes in the song. It's been a year since we first met. This line, paired with the verse about his unsuccessful coming out, suggests that his hesitation to address his relationship may be caused by internal struggle rather than external pressure, a combination of navigating a new changing or complex identity, as well as a relationship riddled with gray areas and potential problems, has caused uncertainty in how he views his partner, the relationship, and by extension, himself. And then back to we wanted to be humans. We said we hated humans. Get more groceries, get eaten. Then part 3, last night I dreamed he was trying to kill you. I woke up and I was trying to kill you. And this part, the drumming here is crazy. The ancients saw it coming. You can see they tried to warn them in the tales they told their children, but they fell out of their heads in the morning. They said that sex can be frightening, but the children were not listening, and the children cut out everything except the kissing and the singing. And when they finally found their homes at Walt Disney Studios, then everyone grew up with their fundamental schemas screwed. But there are lots of fish left in the sea. There are lots of fish in business suits that talk and walk on human feet and visit doctors and have weak knees. Let me join your cult. I'll paint my face in your colors. You had a really nice face. I had a really early death. The ocean washed over your grave. The ocean washed open your grave. We're too scared to do crap. Dang. The ending is so, almost anxiety-inducing, to be honest, but also it was a really beautiful ending as well. Yeah. Dang. He's a very interesting lyricist. This line refers to the writing of There's also a lot of Bible references throughout the album, which is an interesting choice. This line refers to the writing of Bible stories. It is common for Will to make religious references in his work, even going as far as reading a Bible verse on the song Famous Prophets' Minds, which is on this album, I think. The children ignore the warnings of sexual immorality presented in the Bible, only focusing on positive romantic aspects. The kissing part refers to the kiss of peace, which is an ancient Christian greeting. The kiss of peace has been mostly forgotten in modern Christianity and been replaced with the sign of peace, where you shake each other's hands. Huh. Did not know that. Walt Disney films are notorious for their family-friendly branding, which often presents real aspects of life, such as love and marriage, in an unrealistic fashion. As a result, people grow up unprepared for actual hardships and complicated emotions that they face in real-life relationships. Yep. Will realizes that even this one person won't love him back, or if he's breaking up with them, there are plenty of other options. He goes off on a tangent about anthropomorphic fish, perhaps referencing there are people out there who have more common interests with him and are just like this person. Business Suits may also be a reference to Trout Mask Replica by Captain Beefheart, which is an album I've been wanting to listen to for a while. Let me join your cult. Typically, cults try to lure new members in with offers of identity or connection with others, and here Will is begging to join. He knows what he's getting himself into, but his desperation has inhibited concern entirely. He's trying to find himself, find a place he can belong in, wants to find a home for his inhumane and lost self, which is a primary aspect of why people are drawn to cult-like communities in the first place. I'll paint my face in your colors refers to his desperation trying to become normal, and he's willing to change himself and his face just to fit in. It's a reoccurring theme on Twin Fantasy, paired with the ocean washing open your grave. Basically, it's about being unable to keep your feelings for someone buried, and they keep resurfacing long after you thought they were gone. It's also an allusion to my album 3, which had a mini narrative with beach death and beach funeral and about feelings. Asked about it during his second Ask Me Anything on Reddit, Will said, I think it indicated something about mortality and life changes. I was reading a lot of romantic poetry at the time, which uses a lot of natural imagery to convey emotional states. Often there's a sense of dread or incomprehension attached to it, things beyond human understanding. So it's an image that speaks in some way, but I don't exactly know what it means. And that is Beach Life and Death by Car Seat Headrest, and this is a 40-minute long video. Thank you very much for joining me. I recommend you check out the whole album. There's so much stuff going on in this record. It's very experimental. It's very fun to listen to. There's a lot of tracks that are very catchy. This one's a little bit more dense, but kind of showcases everything that I like about the band in one song. So I thought, why not? Let's do that one. And yeah. All right. That's Car Seat Headrest. Thank you for joining me. If you are a fan of Car Seat Headrest and you found this video, let me know what other albums I should check out, because I've only listened to whatever that really old one was that I listened to. I don't remember the name of it. And then Twin Fantasy. And I think I listened to the first song off Teens of Denial and never really came back to it. Should I continue down that album? Are there any specific songs that I should check out? I like the longer things. They're fun to listen to. And yeah, I watched a couple live videos. They're really cool live as well, most of the time. For example, I watched this live NPR set, and I don't know how I feel about it. It was good, but it was weird. It was interesting to hear the song stripped down to literally just him and an acoustic guitar. But yeah. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for allowing me to showcase some music I've been listening to lately. I'll see you guys soon. Deathstroke 9. Out.